You're listening to The Alana Show with your host, Alana Vandeveer. One-on-ones with the important people who make our vibrant community run. On the True Oldies channel and streaming anywhere in the world at trueoldiesfla.com. Now, here's your host, Alana.
Welcome back to The Alana Show, where we shine a light on everyday Americans doing extraordinary things, those who serve, lead, and work tirelessly to keep this republic strong. Today, I'm honored to welcome two patriots whose lives have been dedicated to service, leadership, and empowering others to step into the arena of civic responsibility. Celeste Ellich is a Navy veteran, political leader, mentor, and marathon coach who has led countless initiatives from local campaigns and veteran service projects to organizing at the state and federal levels. She is deeply rooted in Broward County, but has carried her commitment to liberty nationwide. Bob Sutton is a business strategist, educator, and conservative leader who's never been afraid to roll up his sleeves and fight for what's right. Whether it's in the classroom, in the political trenches, or in the community, his leadership has reached from Broward County to Washington, D.C., and even across oceans. Together, they co-authored the powerful book, The Candidate's Playbook. Available now on Amazon, it's part how-to, part battle journal, and 100% about making sure the next generation of leaders is equipped to lead with courage and conviction. Welcome you two to the show. Thank you very much. I'm honored.
Well, I feel blessed and honored to be with you. So
excellent.
Hi, Alana.
Hi, Celeste. All right. Well, Celeste, your story is such a testament to stepping up when others step down. From secretary to vice chair to acting chair of the Broward Republican Executive Committee, what did you learn about leadership, especially in difficult transitions?
Well, you have to lead by conviction. You have to pick goals and go for them whether the people want it or not.
Amen.
When I stepped down from the REC...
And that is specifically REC. You know, we're talking leadership within the party, which is one of the hardest. And I've witnessed this since I was 7 years old, and I'm old enough now. But to say that is, I mean, it's harder than going up against the Democrats. It's you have an internal within the party looking on the outside to get votes. But I'll let you continue for sure.
Well, yeah, and I told them they tend to eat their own. They need to just learn to work together.
Amen.
And that's why I stepped down from leadership, because I decided I would rather volunteer where people appreciate it. I stepped away and went more into veterans things. So I now volunteer and serve on foundations for veterans because I know that's more appreciated. People in politics don't appreciate others.
They don't. I think they're all trying to either crawl up the ladder or want, you know, or they're, I mean, hate to say it, crazy. I mean, they want everything or anything, but nothing at all to get done.
If I may interject here with Celeste. One of my favorite phrases that I've ever heard from someone who's involved in the political arena, when Celeste was ending her term with the REC, she left there saying, "I leave here with my integrity intact." And I will vouch for that, because Celeste has been through the battles with me, and I've noticed that she will do the right thing no matter what.
Well, I love how you two get out of that situation, because it can be very disheartening, the way they treat people within a party. You know, and I've seen it in both parties, and both parties know that. If you look at, you know, the, what's the guy's name, socialist in the Democrat Party, you know, I think a lot of his followers got discouraged within the party. You know, you see it all the time. And I remember specifically, we were redistricted, and my dad was running, and he was in the Senate, and then one of the House districts, I called him, and I think my dad was in the hospital at the time with a herniated disc, but we were putting up signs as a family, and I'm like, you know, can we get your sign list? I'll call it for you. We're trying to work as a team, and they said, well, we worked really hard for that sign list. And I said, okay. So I hung up and I called. I pulled the Department of Transportation numbers, the busiest roads, and then I used Phoenix at the time. I don't know if you remember that. It was an old Republican database. And I called each one, and my brothers were out there putting up signs. We put up a near 900 in the Senate district, and she called me back from the rep, same party, and she goes, your signs are really impressive. Do you think we can get some of those? And I said, we worked really hard for those, and I hung up. And and then we worked together perfectly. They saw that, you know, we were working hard, they were working hard, we're on the same platform. Why can't we work together? And I think that's common in both parties, but it is interesting that that takes place everywhere.
Well, I think a lot of times when you're talking about the division and the personalities, if you keep in mind, like middle school, the kids that didn't get to sit at the popular kids' table, a lot of them wound up in politics. And once you understand that, they still want to be important, they still want to sit at the popular kids' table, and have gotten into politics to be that person. That's the mentality that's out there. And
I'm glad you bring that up because it's public service. It's not power. It's not, it's leadership. Right. It's not power. And I think that's what I appreciate most about you two and Teresa is, you look at it as a public service. You are a veteran and you're working hard and they're lucky to have you. And actually, I'm really glad you're in that field regardless.
Thank you.
We want you in the Republican Party or not, but and thank you for your service there. All right. Well, Bob, you've worked with students, entrepreneurs, and elected officials, but you've always stayed grounded in one goal, protecting our republic, which we are a republic. Constitutional republic. Right. What do you say to someone who feels like politics is, quote unquote, too messy to get involved in?
Well, the first branch of government should be and is to be we the people. So the people need to be involved. If you're in your kitchen and you're pulling stuff out of your refrigerator and you drop a casserole and it goes all over the place and the dish breaks and everything splatters, is it messy to clean up?
Yeah.
So somebody has to take on that responsibility to clean it up. And we, the people, have gotten away from our responsibility of being the first branch in government. So is it messy? Yes. Do you have to be involved? Yes. Do you want a better life passed down to your children? Yes. Take the mess on so the next generation doesn't have to.
Amen. And, I feel like the less involvement we have with the people, the more power and control government gets, which is, kind of sensible and what the Founding Fathers kind of established it the way it is.
The easiest way to explain that, if you want someone to tell you where to live, what to drive, what to eat, you want a centralized government, which you're going to vote for the Democrats. If you want freedom of speech, freedom of choice, you want decentralized government, which means you're going to vote conservative or Republican. And cleaning up a mess, it's our job. It's our job to clean up this mess.
As individuals and citizens of the United States, I agree wholeheartedly. Do you want to touch on that, Celeste?
Well, it is messy in politics. That's the question.
You have a lot of people throwing stuff out there,
And I've run for office. Bob Sutton's run for office. I ran for city commission in Wilton Manors 3 times. I don't fit the demographics. So if they can't find something bad about you, they make it up. And that's very disheartening. And I took it very personal.
As you should, especially with your background as a veteran and all those things. That is very disheartening. I'm sorry that happened.
But they don't care. I served on 3 of the city boards. I paid my dues. I served my time. I was the better, and this happens all the time. I was the better person for the job, but I wasn't the candidate for that community. And Bob and I driving up here, we had a discussion about our congressional seat and how we favored one candidate over the others because, by gosh, he was the best person. He would make a great congressman. Let's
run him. That's what I do.
Well, he did run. He's a terrible candidate.
I don't believe that. He's outgoing.
Yeah.
Well,
no. You don't know who we're talking about.
Oh.
You don't know who we're talking about. No, you
As
don't.
an opposition or Bob Sutton?
No.
Oh,
no.
I was like, he'd make a great candidate.
Oh, no.
But don't do it, Bob.
I'm not talking about Bob.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying...
She only talks about me behind my back, not in front of me.
No, I'm saying that we were helping a congressional candidate run, and this is not in the last election. We've been doing this for a while.
Okay.
But this guy knows the job, would be an awesome congressional member for everybody. But he's a bad candidate.
Oh, good. Well,
there's a difference.
I hate to say it. It reminds me, I told this to a fundraiser of somebody, but it was for instance, Jeb Bush, maybe good person, bad candidate for that time especially. We had Romney McCain come up. Terrible for the people. They weren't getting energized or anything. Then you had Trump, who I knew, but then the inside politics were no Trump. But I'm like, I think this is our guy.
I will tell you personally, he's a very decent, humble individual.
Oh, who?
Trump.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much so. Even outside that, he energized the base that didn't exist during the Romney-McCain era. And if you were an operative at that time, and I'll say it over and over again, it was not a fun time.
Trump energized the people that are paying the bills.
Thank you. Well, exactly. And they were discouraged during the other two.
And the first time he ran, the state of Florida did this big event in Orlando. There were, like 19 people running that time in the primary, at the early ages of the primary. And there were so many, they had 30 minutes, each one, to speak on stage. And it's interesting, there was no scheduled breaks because they had to get all 19 of these in one day. And do you know when Trump came on stage, I said, oh, yeah, I'm done. This is my time to take a break. He was just screaming, and he was like a crazy man on stage.
They needed that, though. We needed that.
So, you keep moving and moving and moving, and everybody keeps dropping and keeps dropping. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, who am I going to end up supporting? Because we were running the REC.
That is funny because I remember going to Dallas before Trump announced, and they had all those potential candidates come in and speak to Americans for Prosperity was the event that I was at. And I remember sitting there, and I had a glass of wine and then another one. And I'm like, this is going to be just like the Romney-McCain elections unless something happens. I moved to Florida. Trump announces, I'm like, this is our guy. The energy and everything.
Something Celeste mentioned, we were running the REC, and under our watch, we had the largest voter turnout in the history of the REC.
Beautiful.
And then we had, when everybody, we were watching the results come in, and it came in that Trump won, and we had an event. I don't know how many hundreds of people we had there. And everybody's looking at me, watching my face, and they were saying, well, why aren't you happy? And I told the gentleman that asked me that question, I said, the only thing that we won was a 4-year reprieve. We won't recognize this country 6 months after the next election.
Amen,
And now we're down to where we only have a 3.5-year reprieve. And I don't want to violate any sunshine laws, but just so you know, Celeste and I are elected officials in Broward County.
Okay. Well, you're elected. You're not running or currently registered.
We're both elected officials.
Yeah, but you're not registered to run again for a next election currently.
No.
We're not campaigning. No,
okay.
we both were elected.
And we will be inviting all candidates, local, state, and on this show in particular.
Well, we're more than happy to help you with that list.
No, I would love that. I appreciate you too, and I don't say that lightly. I mean it. And then I just want to say again, the candidates playbook, obviously you can hear and see that they're very committed to public service, and I highly recommend you go to Amazon and check it out. Once you're done reading, leave a review. All right, so Celeste, well, actually, both of you have worn many hats. So educator, veteran, strategist, public servant. Why is civic engagement, whether on a school board or a soil and water district, so essential to preserving American freedom?
Well, the Soil and Water District, that's what we're elected to right now.
Excellent.
We're Broward Soil and Water. You have to start somewhere in politics, and it's generally best to start at the bottom level.
All politics are local.
Right. Yeah. And learn and grow as you go up. I mean, people use it as a stepping stone. There are people like Trump was never elected. He won as president.
He had name recognition, things like that.
But that's not the norm. Mm-hmm. The norm is people are boots on the ground. They're grassroots. And we have people that win elections that don't have as much money as their opponents because they're grassroots and they're local. So it is important to build liberty from the ground up.
And I'll say first is, don't get discouraged, too. If you don't win that city council race, I met somebody that ran for city council 3 times, lost all 3 times, ran for a state senate seat and won, and then was in Congress within the next term. So don't get discouraged. Just keep going, especially if you're passionate about it. Bob, back to you.
Well, after we won our independence, the Republican moms, and you can research this, their job was to educate their children on how to keep the Republic open. Mm-hmm. And therefore, we the people should be the first branch of government.
Always.
And if we're not engaged, if we don't attend school board meetings or city council meetings or work with a candidate, we're not doing our job.
Well, Andy will get a surprise on the kitchen table while your kid is reading out of nowhere if you're not paying attention.
So, everybody needs to do their part, whether it's attending a meeting so you're involved, supporting a candidate so you're involved. But if we, the people, aren't doing our job, That's how we got in the mess that we've seen over the past few years.
That's a great point. You get more outrage. You find out too late. You always find out too late. If you let it slip away, you lose freedom by freedom, and eventually it's going to affect you as an individual. And then at that point, it's usually too late. And I do thank God that we caught it early, or late, but addressing it.
Well, we have, like I said, we have a 3.5-year reprieve right now. Mm-hmm. And if we don't stay active, we don't stay engaged at a local level. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other party wants to destroy this country.
They really do. I think it's about power and control. I think that, more people involved. And I do feel bad for, Democrats that believe that they were doing the right thing for them, helping the poor, helping, people that weren't privileged and doing the right thing. Found out that, no, they aren't helping me. They're trapping me in a system that leaves me powerless eventually, or currently even. And I feel like it was brought to their attention, and I do feel like their party is readjusting to, accommodate that. But at the same time, there's a great force within there that's not allowing them to. So it's disheartening in that regard, too, for people that found that out.
Well, you'll find, Celeste and I get...
the hard way.
For lack of better words, we get invited all over the nation to help candidates. Mm-hmm. We have a very good strategy of helping those little niche candidates. That the one seat we turned was held by a Democrat for 4 decades.
Right.
And we helped that candidate flip it to a Republican. Mm-hmm. And, the reason you mentioned the book earlier, we can't be everywhere for everybody. And not everybody can afford to have us at their disposal.
Correct.
So that's why that book was so important. And it has 12 years of hard work and dedication and thoughts that are in that book.
And the book, again, is The Candidate's Playbook on Amazon, and that'll be listed on the site, too. Excellent book. I read it myself, and again, mine goes back to 7 years old, but I got out of it for a while, and it's a great refresher, it's a great introduction, and it's a great, reminder, not to be redundant, but it's a good book. I really appreciated it.
Somebody called it the campaigning for dummies because you can kind of start from the beginning.
Yeah, but I thought it was a little more than that. It kind of builds confidence too, in a strange way, in a reminder. So it's
and now we know who the person is that bought the one book we sold.
Aside from the guy that I went to high school prom with.
Well, all the candidates I'm pushing between Minnesota and Florida, to run because I think they're good people, and usually if they're reluctant, they're a better candidate. But is what I'm finding. But it is, you got to get them out there.
When you get involved in the political arena, and most people don't understand it. Mm-hmm. I mean, they will come after you with everything they have.
I never understood
and that's that. I'm not talking about the opposition from the other party. People from in your own party are going to come after you because, why do you get to do this? And they're supposed to be the ones.
And especially if they've been there a while. But it's you're not a good candidate. Back to what you said, you're a good person, until you start attacking especially your same party. But even the other side, we had videos of, I mentioned this before, of our opposition, and I was managing the campaign and going into a hotel with somebody that wasn't their spouse. And I'm like, throw that out. This is on the merit of our candidate. I don't want that anywhere near us. And that was it. And we won. We always win, but it's always on the merit of the candidate. And, I'm strategic in a way where if you attack us, we can use it. And I think that's the way to do it, is to use that, and lift up the candidate as opposed to playing the same game. I never believed in that.
Well,
it's just unhealthy.
No mud wrestling here, right?
Yeah. Mud wrestling's safe.
Donald Trump definitely
stab people in the back.
Changed the game of political arena in the United States.
He did, and I like that he brought out that he had, things that he did wrong, and it made other people comfortable, and he got through it. He had addressed it publicly for the most part, from my understanding, and I think it gave other people courage, if they had a past, to say, that's not who I am, but I learned a lot from it, now let me lead.
Yeah. We always tell candidates, if there's something in your past, you spin it and get it out the way you want it out now. Don't wait for the opposition to find all this stuff and spin it their way.
Yep.
So we do background checks on the candidates and try to help them find stuff that the public finds.
Let's see, candidate research as opposed to opposition research, I think, is more valuable. If you have a third-party group doing it, you can't control that if that's what they're doing. I would never promote it, but...
well, one of the easiest things to do is, like Celeste said, if you have your candidates, here's all of my background, here's all of the things that may come out in the closet, here's the negative things that you're going to hear. That way, when somebody calls them on it, the candidate can say, that's been addressed. What are your concerns that I can help you with when I'm elected?
Beautiful. And you need people that you trust in that are loyal to do that, which I think a lot of people have issues with, but like you two are trustworthy, loyal, and you have a track record of that. So that's nice. As far as consultants.
12 years, is it 12 years or more of working together?
I think it's more than that.
Yeah. They call me a vault outside of the radio show. If you talk to me, I'm not saying a word. It's just buried. But anyway, so if somebody's not in the room, don't talk about them. That's my rule outside the show. Okay. So, Celeste, your story about working through the VA to get your loan overturned shows how much power a citizen can have when they just try. What would you say to someone who doesn't believe they can make a difference?
Well, it's interesting because I taught this principle to my two daughters that, I just had a feeling when they denied this VA loan that it didn't make sense. It was my own VA loan on a house. I'm a veteran. And I said to the loan officer, well, how do I get this overturned? And he said, short of an act from Congress. And I said, oh, really? Oh, act of Congress? I can handle that. And he's thinking I'm joking. And I said, no, are you serious? And he said,
I love this.
Well, you have to go to the VA in St. Petersburg, which is the main for the whole country, and pitch it. I said, I can do that. And so I looked up my U.S. congressman, who at the time was E. Clay Shaw. I had never been to his office. I went to his local office. I presented everything I had. And the staffer, just through a staffer, not to him. Mm-hmm. I mean, in all honesty, the staffers do all the work. Mm-hmm. And so the staffer took the whole package. It was probably 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from my loan officer. He says, I don't know what you did, but your loan is approved. And so my daughters learned that process because they saw how hard I worked. And if you go to them, and again, he did not know me. I was not involved in politics. I had two small kids. Mm-hmm. This was in 1996. I mean, we're going back.
But it goes to show, and I do think officials still do have that leadership. If you approach them, if you put in the work and the effort rather than cry on Facebook.
Right, and I was a constituent.
You're a constituent.
They will help their constituents. If you go to them, they will help you.
And if they don't, run for office. No.
Well,
we were just in D.C. a few weeks ago.
Right.
We met with, I don't know how many congressmen and senators and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the welcome that we get when we're in D.C. is absolutely phenomenal. And that came from, I'm going to say this, both sides. Very welcoming to us.
Yeah.
And, but there again, you have to show up. You have to be involved. You have to be engaged.
And don't go screaming.
And how many steps? How many steps was that in one day?
Oh my goodness! I think we had close to 20,000 steps.
I saw that post. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, and there were just a few doors that were shut in the House buildings, which we won't name, but most of the doors are open, and you can go into these. So I was going to tell you a quick little side story.
Go ahead.
My youngest daughter just graduated from FAU with a nursing degree and instantly moved to California because her husband got a job there.
Okay.
She kept trying to get her nursing license, trying to get it. She got delayed in the system, and she said, Mom, I thought of you. I looked up my congressman, not from the same party, but it didn't matter. And I went to my congressman, and in a week, I got my nursing license.
I love that.
So she learned. My kids have learned. So if you just keep pushing it down, we're going to educate everybody.
So we are in America. Thank you.
The room that was given or provided to us in the Capitol was from somebody who's not of the same political party we are. And they treated us like very, very well.
That's true.
Nice.
And they provided a room for us for meetings at the Capitol. And
because we're constituents, that's why.
I like a sound debate. I like that there's two parties. I don't like, people screaming at each other so much or, being really aggressive just to discourage people in general. But it's a beautiful if it can be a debate. It's supposed to be that way. You bring your problems, or solutions, and you meet together and hammer out the best one. Government should be slow.
About the issues that are facing the voters in the community.
The majority of the country is down the middle. They lean slightly right, they lean slightly left, but the majority of the country is right there in the middle. I mean, the problem is the people with the biggest mouths are on the far right and the far left, and that's all you hear from.
And the way information travels, which I think some party undermined that, which hurt them tremendously. So,
yes.
Bob, your quote, I hear you, I believe what you say, but I can only measure your results. And you can say that again in your own words, but is one that leaders at every level should take to heart. What does accountability mean to you, especially in public service?
Well, we need to have people that when they are on the campaign trail and they say they're going to make changes, they make changes. A lot of times once they get elected and then the money starts coming in, they're going to go to what the money's telling them to do.
That's the worst.
Now, we currently have a president that whatever he campaigned on, he's delivering. And that's refreshing, whether you like him or don't like him.
That's leadership.
Here's what I campaigned on, here's what I'm delivering. So I hear you, I believe you, but I can only measure the results. What have you done for the people that are in your district? How have you bettered their lives? What have you brought to the table for them?
And that's from a candidate's perspective. The people need to ask themselves the same question about the candidates that are running is, if they do have a track record, have they been there for you if you had showed up like Celeste did?
You just saw an appointment for Blaze. And DeSantis, I don't really going to remember the exact words, but he says, what was the track record of those that wanted the appointment? And I will tell you, Blaze helped us with a lawsuit in Broward County with the supervisors of elections. Blaze did come in and filed the lawsuit to start getting the elections to be more with integrity than what they were in Broward County. And Blaze and Goliath did do that lawsuit on behalf of, I was the chair at that time.
Wow.
So when DeSantis talks about, what have you done in your past? What's your record show? And that's why Blaze and Goliath got the appointment over somebody else.
That's interesting.
So there is a track record that is there. The other thing is, I'm going to say this to you. If everybody can learn to read a campaign finance report, that speaks volumes.
You can see where it's going and how they're going.
And it's public.
Where it's coming from and where it's going.
Most people don't know what that is or how to get a hold of it. But if you want to really see who owns...
Open secrets. That's good.
Whoever owns your candidate, look at the campaign reports.
Yep. And then if you don't approve and they aren't leading the community, get involved. Always, anyway. But so... Let's talk about your book, because I love the book, and you two have been great at events and everything. But the Candidate's Playbook, why did you write it, and who is it really for? Seasoned candidates, first-timers, or maybe even those just thinking about public service for the first time?
Well, the reason we actually wrote it, we had to put all of our information into a package, for example, just into a package. And we found it, we put it into a book. And the reason we wrote it, because we started getting calls from all over the nation. And, I don't have those deep pockets like some of my peers have. So we want to help these candidates, but we couldn't get on a jet, fly there, and put things together. So for $17.76, all of our 12 years of knowledge, except for there's two things I forgot, which will be in the next book, is in this book. And it's definitely a guide to help candidates, grassroots, or ones that are already elected to get reelected. And for the guy that's sitting there saying, I don't have the $1 million to run, how do I figure this out? So for $17.76 we make it $2 a piece?
Well, I've given it to candidates that we're proposing too, and I think it's great for consultants to give to candidates, whether local, state, or national, just to get a better idea of what they're, because you get on a call, one of these calls, and it's like, bam, and the candidate's like, wow, Right. And I think reading this is a good idea, like, Focus. Finding a treasure.
Yeah, we've had congressional candidates buy this book for all of their staff.
Perfect.
I mean, it's because they'll send me a picture, and they bought enough books for everybody on their staff to read this book.
Cute.
And that one just got endorsed, by the way. I won't say his name on air yet, but he did get endorsed, and it looks like he's going to win that election.
I love it. Well, Celeste, first-timers, seasoned candidates, why did you do it?
Well, same reason, basically, but we had people asking us the same questions over and over again, and we also saw people that wouldn't come to ask us questions, and we'd see them making mistakes that were like, oh, my God, that was an easy one.
It was obvious, yeah.
Yes, it's obvious.
You wasted a couple weeks.
Well, certain things like don't make your wife your campaign treasurer. Duh.
Oh, that's
the only two people that can go to jail are the candidate and the treasurer. So do you want a husband and wife to get adjoining cells or something? But so we tell them, don't do it. and things like that. Simple things, you know, like pick a campaign treasurer that can help you, that will add to your campaign. Just little tidbits that, you know, we can't remember everything to tell somebody, but everybody that reads the book finds something in there that they can hold on to that it helps them.
Agreed. I think it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So both of you have been mentors and champions for others. What advice do you have for someone, young or old, who feels the call to serve but doesn't know where to begin?
Get involved. Find something that you either like and help encourage it, or find something that you're not happy with and find a way to fix it. And there's enough out there. I mean, there's political appointments on every level. You can go after one of them. But it's engagement. Show up.
Show up.
And there again, the rules and the laws belong to those that show up or the ones that can write the checks. And a lot of times, just by simply showing up, it's going to make a difference and have an impact on the outcome.
Yep.
Yeah, I started, well, actually, after college and the Navy and coming to Florida, my first thing was I got appointed to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for the city of Wilton Manors, because that was my passion. I'm into sports and athletics. So I felt that was a way to get started in politics. You know, because you're appointed to a board, you can make decisions, you start learning the political process. I served 6 years on that board and said, okay, now I need to move to a different board. So I moved to planning and zoning, served 6 years. Then I moved to the budget review, served for 6 years. So there's so many different boards you can be on that all you have to do is volunteer. I mean, you will have to get selected.
Yes,
You know,
but that's a start, especially if you're passionate about it. How can it go wrong?
Well, you make decisions. I mean, planning and zoning makes decisions.
Very
on,
big. We'll get that in another segment.
Yeah, I mean, they can say whether this project's going to be built or not.
Or a business goes in and when they go in. And
Right.
that planning and zoning is actually way undermined especially being in commercial real estate. We see it all the time. It is
Right.
a big deal, very big deal.
It is, and it's good experience. You have to learn the Robert's Rules of Order. I mean, yeah, Bob.
What is it? We don't have enough time,
Is
but
there a
let's
motion?
we're going to have to turn you guys into a
Is there a
segment
second?
too.
Any conversation? Call to a vote. Okay, go ahead.
Repeat that one more time. That sounds briefer than I thought. Bob would consolidate it. Go ahead, Bob.
Somebody needs to make a motion,
Yep.
and somebody has to second the motion.
Yep.
Then you ask for discussion, and you call it to a vote.
He's learned. How about that? He learned.
Oh, Bob, after all these years, we're glad to know you're learning.
Well, it was the kicks under the table between Sharon Day and Celeste Ellich.
Right.
That's so great. All right, so you can find their extended biographies in the Candidates Playbook, correct? And that's available on Amazon.
Correct. And our contact information.
And their contact information,
Yes.
which is huge. No, don't go hogging them. I needed them for a few races here. All right, Bob, Celeste, thank you both, not just for being here, but for your continued service, your integrity, and your examples. It's one thing to talk about making a difference. It's another to live it. And you two absolutely live it. To our listeners, if you've ever thought, maybe I could run, maybe I could lead, maybe I could do more, go grab the Candidates Playbook on Amazon. It's written by two people who've walked the walk and want you to join the mission of protecting and restoring our republic. Because at the end of the day, freedom isn't just defended on the battlefield. It's protected in our communities, our classrooms, and our neighborhoods. It starts with showing up. Thanks again, Celeste and Bob Sutton, Celeste Ellich and Bob Sutton. And as always, stay bold, stay curious, and stay in the fight for a better America. See you next time on The Alana Show.